Om-Jnana-Timirandasya Jnananjana-Shalakaya Chakshurmitanyena Tasmai Shri-Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitanyena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupa Sagrajata Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padasagana Lalita Shri Vishaka Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagapate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna to you all. You're welcome to today's section. Let's begin with our shloka recitation. Yeah, Mother Angel, your hand is up first.
Okay, I'll go next. I'll go first, Prabhu. Okay. Chapter 12, verse 8. Mayi iba nadaswa, mayi buddhi nibisaya nibisati, maiva atardvam na samsaya. Translation: Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus, you will live in me always without a doubt. Hare Krishna.
Ibo, thank you. Next, Mother Tripura.
12.8 Maya eva manadhatsva mayi buddhim niveshaya nivashisyasi maya eva ata urdhavam na samshayam. Translation: Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me always without any doubt. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Mother Nikki, next.
Okay, chapter 12, text 8. Maya eva manadatsva mayi buddhim niveshaya navasishasi mayeva atta urdhvam na samshayaha. Translation: Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus, you will live in me always without a doubt. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Mother Shaya, go next.
Hare Krishna, verse 12.8. My eva manadhasva, my buddhi nevetaya, nevatisyasi my eva, ata sampurdhana, samsayaha. Translations: Just fix your mind upon me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Engage your intelligence in me. Thus you will always with me without doubt. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. So let's continue from where we stopped yesterday. Who want to summarize for us?
I'll try, Prabhuji.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Okay. Yesterday we have discussed about we are continuing the translation for 13.12. So we learned about self-control. Anything which the self-control mean like anything which we should not accept anything which is against the path of our devotional service, which is detrimental for our spiritual progress. So we should accept which are favorable for our spiritual life. So that is self-control. And we have discussed like the main detriment is like not following the 4 regulative principles. These will be the biggest impediment of our spiritual journey. Senses should be gratified to keep our body fit. So devotion is a main source of Bhagavad Gita, and we also discussed like our senses, like eyes, we need to use them to see the beautiful form of Krishna, and the tongue we need to use to taste the food which is offered to the Krishna, the remnants of the food which is offered to Krishna, and for the chanting the holy names. And ears we need to use to hear about Krishna, to hear the glories of Krishna, then Krishna. And the nose, we need to use that sense organ to smell the flowers which are offered to Krishna. So most importantly, most important and uncontrollable sense is tongue. So we should be very careful with our tongue. So what we speak, what we eat, so we need to be in control with that. And we also like revise something like from the Bhagavad Gita 6.16 and 17 about signs of regulation, how we need to regulate the food and sleep, our food habits and sleep. We should not sleep so much, we should not sleep too little. We should not eat so much and we should not eat too little. So, and we also discussed about false ego, another quality. The real ego is like the soul, knowing that we're servant of Krishna, that is real ego. So it is like false ego comes under like we are the enjoyer. Having that impression is the false ego. So if we don't have real ego, then we will go under, we will become a slave for the false ego. So we should understand that we are servant of Krishna, then the false ego cannot touch us. And to get rid of the false ego, we should involve ourselves in the service of Krishna. And distress of birth, death, and old age and disease, we have learned this. We all know that we will die at certain time, but we are not able to understand that, okay, we are getting progress towards our old age. So we are not having that kind of realization. So no science can stop the birth, no science can stop the death. It's everything is in the control of Krishna. So we should not think, we should not have that burden, whether we will live, whether we will die. We should not have that thoughts. We should just involve in the service of Krishna. We start forget everything. Like we were talking about how we will face misery, we will feel so miserable in the womb of the mother. We would just promise to the Krishna that, okay, I'll never forget you in this life. I will be a servant of you. But still, when we come to this material world, we just forget everything. So we should have that consciousness. We should develop our Krishna consciousness. And next quality is detachment. In this material world, one can never be fully happy or fully miserable. So Prabhupada gives simple example, like we need to worship deities. We need to have like our family should be, we should design our, like we need to modify our family in the service of Krishna. Like we need to chant together in the morning and in the evening. We should worship the deities, chant. Yeah, it's like that. So we no need to renounce life at that time if you already have a family life which goes in a Krishna conscious way. Yeah, and at the last part we were discussing about the sleep habits and all food habits. Yeah, this is what in summary, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for your summary. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Mother Nikki, you want to add something?
No, Prabhu. No, Prabhu.
Okay.
It was very nice. It was a very nice summary.
Okay, Prabhu David,
Gita.
you want to add something? I can see that you're inside the class. David Prabhu.
Yes, I am. I'm in
Yeah,
a
very
classroom.
good.
Maybe I have to leave early. I'm not sure.
Okay, it's okay. Thank you for joining. Okay. Okay, let's continue from where we stop. Okay. Thank you very much, Mother Tripura, for taking that bold step. Okay, so we stopped where did we stop yesterday?
One should be detached from happiness and distress of family life.
Okay.
Because in this world, one can never be fully happy or fully miserable.
Oh, very nice. That's a very nice one, huh? From Prabhupada. Where is it? One cannot be fully happy or fully miserable. So there's nobody who is like, oh, I'm fully happy, you know? Or somebody will say, oh, my misery is the worst. No. When you meet someone else, you will know that you are better. Okay, so let's continue. Who wants to start from here? Happiness.
Okay, I'll read it first.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Happiness and distress are concomitant factors of material life. One should learn to tolerate as advised in Bhagavad Gita. One can never restrict the coming and going of happiness and distress. So one should be detached from the materialistic way of life and be automatically equiposed in both cases. Generally, when we get something desirable, we are very happy, and we get something undesirable, we are distressed. But if we are actually in the spiritual position, these things will not agitate us. To reach that stage, we have to practice unbreakable devotional service. Devotional service to Krishna without deviation means engaging oneself in the 9 processes of devotional service. chanting, hearing, worshipping, offering, respect, etc., as described in the last verse of 9th chapter. That process should be followed.
Thank you. So the way Prabhupada started this paragraph was very interesting. So Prabhupada say happiness and distress are what? Remember that word, proper use. Happiness and distress are what?
Concomitant factors of material life.
What does that word mean, concomitant? Somebody
Natural.
want to... Okay. So, yeah, associated, yeah, natural, yeah, accompanying, yeah.
Corrupting.
What was that?
Corrupting. The corrupting processes.
Ah, okay.
The real world is like Maya. It reaches out for you no matter what you do. It will corrupt you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, yeah, so happiness and distress is concomitant factor of this material, which means that we will be happy, and surely also there will be distress. You see, just like Prahlad Maharaj mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, he said, just like our happiness come, our distress come without we looking for them, similarly, our happiness also will come for us. Nobody look for mysteries in this world or distress. No, you don't look for that. But it come naturally. So similarly, your happiness also will come naturally. That's why Prabhupada said, this is a concomitant factor. And Prabhupada was mentioning in the purport there that only by unbreakable devotional service we can come to this platform of spiritual position where we will not be agitated by the happiness and distress. Because many times in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna was always mentioning that we should be composed in happiness and distress because it's a concomitant factor of material life. So that is why we have to be neutral. We have to be detached. And when Prabhupada was explaining this, I'm very sure Prabhupada was quoting Bhagavad Gita chapter 16, verse 26. Who wants to read for us?
Prabhu 16:26.
Yeah.
Prabhu chapter 16. There's only up to verse 24.
Oh, sorry. 1426. Sorry.
14:26.
I'm always missing it. 1426. That is
Yeah,
Mam Chayo Vibyacharina Bhakti Yogena Seva Tesaguna Samatya Itam. 1426.
yes.
Okay, Mam Chayo Vibyacharina. Go ahead.
One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transits to the mode of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman.
Very good. So, unbreakable devotional service is what can make us to transcend this happiness and distress of this world. Unbreakable devotional service means that we have, no matter whatever happened to us in life, we have to continue engaging in devotional service. We must not stop by all means. Nothing should stop our devotion. Whether you are happy, chant Hare Krishna. Whether you are distressed, chant Hare Krishna. So when we continue like this without no breaking, that is only when we can transcend happiness and distress. It's a simple process, but it's not very easy. Okay. Something simple doesn't mean that it's easy. I say it's a simple process. I'm not saying it's easy. Okay. It's a simple process, but it's not easy. Okay, you are not happy, chant Hare Krishna. Okay, you are very happy, chant Hare Krishna. It looks so simple, but it's not easy. But we just have to practice. So when we're able to practice that whenever we are happy, we are chanting. Even when we have some miserable situation, we are chanting. Then by doing this steadily, that is how we transcend these modes of material nature. So happiness and distress will never affect us again. Like that. Okay. So let's continue. Sometimes when we are happy, it's easier for us to chant Hare Krishna, you see? But when we are in a miserable condition, it's very difficult. So that is what we have to practice. That we have to practice. Okay, something happened, oh, you are lamenting. Instead of you to be lamenting, just chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So, because when you're happy, it's okay, it's very easy to chant. Or for some people, when they're happy, it's that time they forget chanting. But when they are miserable, that's when they pick their beats. So sometimes it's opposite for some people. So we just have to balance it. It means even when you're happy, chant. Even when you're miserable, chant. Then you can transcend the most of material nature with time. Okay, let's continue. Someone who has not read, please read.
I will read, Prabhu. I'll read, Prabhu.
Okay. Please go ahead. Who is reading?
We're gonna continue. Naturally, when one is adapted to the spiritual way of life, he will not want to mix with the materialistic men that would go against his grain. One may test himself by seeing how far he is inclined to live in a solitary place without unwanted association. Naturally, a devotee has no taste for unnecessary sporting or cinema going or enjoying some social function because he understands that these are simply a waste of time. There are many research scholars and philosophers who study sex life or some other subject. But according to the Bhagavad Gita, such research work and philosophical speculation have no value. That is more or less nonsensical. According to the Bhagavad Gita, one should make research by philosophical discretion into the nature of the soul. One should make research to understand the self that is recommended here.
Thank you very much. Someone else want to read the next paragraph? We have to finish this today and move on. Yes.
As far as self-realization is concerned, it is clearly stated here that Bhakti Yoga is especially practical. As soon as there is a question of devotion, one must consider the relationship between the super soul and the individual soul. The individual soul and the supreme soul cannot be one, at least not in the Bhakti conception, the devotional conception of life. This service of the individual soul to the supreme soul is eternal, nityam, and it is clearly stated. So, bhakti or devotional service is eternal. One should be established in that philosophical conviction.
Thank you very much. We should be thanking Srila Prabhupada for giving us this pure knowledge. Many of us, we don't know how much we should be grateful to Srila Prabhupada. Today we were going for book distribution, and I met one guy from America. He's a Black American. So when I approached him, he was telling me, "Oh, I don't believe in religion. Are you a religion or a spiritualist?" I know that once he's asking that question, I know what it meant, what he's trying to say. I said, "Oh, no, spiritualist." It's okay, very good. I don't, I'm not into religion. So, and there's nothing inside that your book that I don't know. I say, yes, okay, it's very good. So I want to hear a little about your philosophy. So he was very impressed. Okay, come, let's sit down at the beer parlor, the restaurant where they sit down to drink. Okay, let's go. So we sat down there. He ordered for beer. He was drinking his beer, and he was telling me his philosophy. What is his philosophy? His philosophy is that he is God. See, we are that God. We create our own happiness and distress. So he was speaking all this philosophy that we are that God, that he created we are the one creating our happiness and distress. I said, wow, very good. Yeah, it's true. Very nice. So he was speaking about how he's God and how he's the one controlling his life. Then I told you, okay, can I say something? Say yes. But since you are God, is there anything that you cannot control? I don't think so. Can you control you growing old? Oh, he said, no, not that one. I said, but you cannot, you are growing old. You cannot control old age, you know? Oh, yes, it's true. That is true. Okay, oh, that is a point. Can you control death when you will die? No. Oh, that makes you a very limited God. Yeah. That makes you a very limited God. There's some things you cannot control. Yeah, something like that. But still, that does not, okay, very good. Again, I started listening to him. So at the end, he was so happy. I say, I really appreciate your philosophy. And I know there's something I would like to share with you also. He said, yes. He said, because you see me, I don't like Bible, you know. When he told me this, I was, you know, then I know where to come from. He said, you see, I don't like Bible because, you see, the knowledge in the Bible is written by some particular people to control the mind of people, to do this, that. And, you know, they change so many things in that Bible. So, you know, so that is why I don't like that book, you know, this, that. And I said that is okay. That is all right. If you don't like it, it's okay. Yeah, you are right. And so I really appreciate your philosophy because also we talk about your philosophy in our own Vedas. And I would love to share with you our perspective from the Vedas. Oh, he said that would be interesting. I would like to hear that. I said that will be next time. So please, can you support, because he has spent so much of our time by talking about his own philosophy. So I said, please, can we support our mission? You know, we are sharing this knowledge to everyone, and to support knowledge is the highest. He said, oh, yes, for sure. Okay. Then he gave me some donation, you know. Then I was very happy because I know that by giving donation, he has gotten some purification. So I told him, okay, nice, when we meet, I will share our knowledge from Vedic perspective. He said, I really want to know that. So we share contact. Because he said that, you know, he comes to Philippines just to cool his mind, to enjoy, to be peaceful. You know, I come from the States. So he said, I come here to, you know, this is where I find my peace, you know. So I come, I say, very good. So don't worry, we catch up, we talk every time, now and then, like that. See? I said, but that is the essence of life, to be peaceful. So if you find it here, it's very good. And he said, it's like God, it's like, he doesn't believe in God, so he doesn't use the word God. He says, it's like nature arranged that we meet today. I say, yes. So yes, nature has arranged that we meet again. So today, so we meet again in the future. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that, so many people, they have all this misconception and all this wrong philosophy about life. Just how Prabhupada made this philosophy so simple for us, to us, you know, about devotion to God, the position of the living entity, in our relationship with the universe, our relationship with God. Prabhupada made it look so simple that everyone and anyone can understand it and can practice. You know, that is the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. That is why we have to appreciate this Prabhupada's purport. You see, Prabhupada explaining here that we are eternal servants of Krishna. You know, the individual soul, Prabhupada mentioned here, he say, as soon as there is a question of devotion, one must consider the relationship between the super soul and the individual soul. The individual soul and the super soul cannot be one. At least one is not in the Bhakti conception, the devotional conception of life. You see? So many people, they have this wrong connection or wrong conception that the super soul and the soul, they are one. Only in the Bhakti process, we get this explanation how the super soul is completely different from the soul. Because people have this wrong conception that the soul and the super soul is one, that is why they think that they are God. That is where the philosophy of thinking that I am that God, that is where the philosophy is coming from. Just like in the beginning of this Bhagavad Gita, Krishna mentioned that there are two knowers. So, but other interpreters of Bhagavad Gita, they will, you know, remove the second knower. They will say, okay, it's only one knower of the soul. So, but here, Krishna mentioned that there are two knowers, the individual soul and the super soul. Because this individual soul is limited to his own body, but the super soul is unlimited. So Prabhupada made it very simple here. So this service of this individual soul to the supreme soul is eternal, nitya, as is clearly stated. So understanding this, with conviction, then that is liberation itself. Understanding these points, Prabhupada mentioned in this purport, that is liberation itself. Just to understand this point itself is liberation. Like this morning we were giving lecture, we're explaining Srimad Bhagavatam. Why are we speaking all this philosophy we are reading every day? We are speaking all these big grammars and chanting. Why? Just to understand that, to tell us that Krishna is the supreme God. That is all. Just to convince us. Just to convince our mind that Krishna is God. That is why we are studying all this scripture. That is why we are chanting. Just to convince us that Krishna is God. That is why I gave one example in the morning. Srila Prabhupada wanted to give somebody second initiation. Those days there was no Bhakti Shastri, there was no ISKCON disciple course. People were getting it very easily. So Prabhupada wanted to give somebody second initiation, and he was giving it tests. So, who is Krishna? And the devotee said, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Prabhupada said, now you are qualified to be a Brahmana. Just imagine, see the question, who is Krishna? Prabhupada said, I wrote all my books just to convince you that Krishna is God. That God you are talking about, all these books I wrote is just to convince you that that God is Krishna. So to understand this with conviction is liberation in itself. Okay, so let's continue.
I'll read it, Prabhuji. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.11, this is explained. Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yad jnanam advayam. Those who are actually knowers of the absolute truth know that the self is realized in three different phases as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the last word in the realization of the absolute truth. Therefore, one should reach up to that platform of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thus engage in the devotional service of the Lord. That is the perfection of knowledge.
So we have come to the end of that purport. So now you can continue reading. This is the end now, like conclusion.
Okay, Prabhuji. Beginning from practicing humility up to the point of realization of the supreme truth, the absolute personality of Godhead, this process is just like a staircase beginning from the ground floor and going up to the top floor. Now, on this staircase, there are so many people who have reached the first floor, the second or third floor, etc. But unless one reaches the top floor, which is understanding of Krishna, he is at lower stage of knowledge. If anyone wants to compete with God and at the same time make advancement in spiritual knowledge, he will be frustrated. It is clearly stated that without humility, understanding is not truly possible. To think oneself God is most puffed up. Although the living entity is always being kicked by the stringent laws of material nature, he still thinks I am God because of ignorance. The beginning of knowledge, therefore, is amanitva, humility. One should be humble and know that he is subordinate of the Supreme Lord. Due to rebellion against the Supreme Lord, one becomes subordinate to material nature. One must know and be convinced of this truth. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. So what is the beginning of knowledge? Let me ask you the question now. What is the beginning of knowledge?
Humility, Prabhu.
Thank you very much. That is it. That is the beginning of knowledge. Humility. Krishna have given us the list. If you say you are in knowledge, that Prabhupada mentioned in that towards the conclusion of that purport, it's like staircase. The beginning of knowledge is humility. You have to be humble. Then pridelessness, then non-violence, then tolerance, then simplicity, then you can approach a spiritual master, then cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation, absence of false ego. So Papa mentioned there very clearly, this is like a staircase. And the beginning, the lower level of that staircase, the beginning is humility. That is the first process of knowledge. If you are not humble, you cannot understand anything about God. That's what Papa mentioned there. If someone is thinking I am God, how will he understand God? It's very difficult. Okay. Let's continue now. We finished that very long purport and very sweet. So let's now continue with our normal. So we continue from text 13. And so this is the process of knowledge on how to get out of the field of activity explained earlier. Krishna explained the field of activities, 24 of them. I hope we all remember. Then after that, Krishna explained the process of knowledge, starting from humility. The 20 items listed in this particular 8 to 12 verses, you know. And that is the process of knowledge on how to liberate ourselves from that field of activity. Okay? Let's continue. Any question, comments regarding this so far? Any question, comments, or contribution? Okay, let's go to test 13. So now Krishna is going to explain about the object of knowledge, the knowable. Okay? Geyam yatat prabhakshami yagyato amritam ashnute anadimat param brahma nasadu shate. Okay, I shall now explain the knowable. Okay, knowable is you will taste the eternal Brahman, the spirit, beginningless and subordinate to me, lies beyond the cause and effect of this material world. So Krishna now going to explain the knowable, Geyam. You know, Arjuna asked many questions. He asked, what is Kshetra? What is Kshetragyan? What is the process of knowledge? What is Geyam? What is what are the six questions Arjuna asked? Somebody want to remind us?
The 6 questions were the following.
Yeah.
What is Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetragyan, Gyanam, and Gyayam?
Very good. Okay, so Krishna now is explaining about Gyayam here. Okay, so let's read the purport. Somebody want to read the purport?
I'll read, okay?
Yes, please.
The Lord has explained the field of activities and the knower of the field, and has also explained the process of knowing the knower of the field of activities. Now he begins to explain the knowable, first the soul and then the super soul. By knowledge of the knower, both the soul and the super soul, one can relish the nectar of life. As explained in the 2nd chapter, the living entity is eternal. This is also confirmed here. There is no specific date at which the Jiva was born, nor can anyone trace out the history of the Jivatma's manifestation from the Supreme Lord. Therefore, it is beginningless. The Vedic literature confirms this. Na jayate nriyate va vipaschit. Katha Upanishad 1.2.18. The knower of the body is never born and never dies, and he is full of knowledge. I'll continue, Prabhu.
Yeah, please continue, yeah.
The Supreme Lord as the Super Soul is also stated in the Vedic literature, Shvetashvatara Upanishad 6.16, to be Pradana Kshetragyan Patir Gunashaha, the chief knower of the body and the master of the 3 modes of material nature. Okay, so in the Smriti, it is said, Dashabhuto Harer Eva Nanyashvaiva Kadachana. The living entities are eternally in the service of the Supreme Lord. This is also confirmed by Lord Chaitanya and his teachings. Therefore, the description of Brahman mentioned in this verse is in relation to the individual soul. And when the word Brahman is applied to the living entity, it is to be understood that he is Vijnana Brahma, as opposed to Ananda Brahma. Ananda Brahma is the Supreme Brahman, personality of Godhead.
So Krishna now going to describe the qualities of the super soul from now till 18. What is that super soul? The object of knowledge. Already he has described the process of knowledge, which is what we have just finished from 8 to 12. Now he's going to describe the object of knowledge as a super soul, or Geyam, the knowable. So he's going to describe that till test 1819. Okay, so let's go to the next test. Any question? Okay, test 14. Sarvata panipadam ta sarvato shishiro mukam sarvata shrutima loke sarva avrityatishthati. Okay, everywhere are his hand and legs, his eyes, heads, and faces. And he has his ear everywhere. In this way, the super soul exists, pervading everything. Okay, this is a very nice verse describing the all-pervasiveness of the Lord. But here, sometimes the impersonalists, when they translate this, they have misconception of this to think that this particular verse is talking about the living entity being the God described here. See, the impersonalists and the personalists, actually we are using the same book, Bhagavad Gita. The only difference is just interpretation. See, even though the Lord is describing his feature as a super soul here, but the impersonalists will misinterpret this one to mean the individual soul. So it's just a thin margin difference between the explanation of the impersonalists and the personalists. See? Okay, let's read the purport. Then I will tell you a story of Sri Advaita Acharya regarding this particular verse.
I'll read it, Prabhuji.
Yes, please.
As the sun exists diffusing its unlimited rays, so does the super soul or supreme personality of Godhead. He exists in all pervading form, and in him exist all the individual living entities, beginning from the first great teacher Brahma down to the small ants. There are unlimited hands, legs, heads, and eyes, and unlimited living entities. All are existing in and on the super soul. Therefore, the super soul is all pervading. The individual soul, however, cannot say that he has his hands, legs, and eyes everywhere. That is not possible. If he thinks that under ignorance, he is not conscious that his hands and legs are diffused all over, but when he attains to proper knowledge, he will come to that stage. His thinking is contradictory. This means that the individual soul, having become conditioned by material nature, is not supreme. The supreme is different from the individual soul. The supreme Lord can extend his hand without limit. The individual soul cannot. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that if anyone offers him a flower or a fruit or a little water, he accepts it. If the Lord is a far distance away, how can he accept things? This is the omnipotence of the Lord. Even though he is situated in his own abode, far, far away from the earth, he can extend his hand to accept what anyone offers. That is his potency. In the Brahma Samhita 5.37, it is stated, Goloka eva nivasati akilatma bhuta. Although he is always engaged in pastimes in his transcendental planet, he is all-pervading. The individual soul cannot claim that he is all-pervading. Therefore, this verse describes the Supreme Soul, the personality of Godhead, not the individual soul.
Like I was saying in the beginning, the impersonalists and the personalists, we are both using same scripture, Bhagavad Gita. The only difference is just interpretation. See how nicely Prabhupada presented this purport to us, to convince us that what is stated in this verse is not talking about the living entity who is conditioned, but it's talking about the super soul who is, ever liberated. So there was one pastime in Chaitanya Bhagavad about Advaita Acharya. When Advaita Acharya was giving lecture on Bhagavad Gita, and they came to this particular verse, and he could not explain it to mean devotion to God. And because of that, he fasted, that day. He has to fast. So that, because he could not understand, because the verse looked very, this verse, it will be very favorite, it will be very, very dear to the impersonalists, but it's easy for them to interpret it to mean that the Lord is talking about the individual soul. That's what Prabhupada is emphasizing in the purport to tell us that no, it's talking about the unlimited super soul. So Advaita Acharya fasted, and at night, Chaitanya Prabhu appeared to him in dream to explain this verse to him, how it means devotion to Krishna. Because if you look at Prabhupada's purport, you see Prabhupada's purport, all the purport in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam is in connection to devotion to God. This is Vaishnava, pure devotee of the Lord. The only, what they think is how to engage in devotional service to Krishna. How the scripture is connected in devotional service to Krishna. That's all what they are thinking. Same thing that Advaita Acharya was thinking. And because he could not understand that, he has to fast. So then the Chaitanya Prabhu has to appear to him to explain the verse to him how it means devotion to Krishna. You see, that is why you see Prabhupada put so much of the explanation in that purport. So similarly, and that is why Chaitanya Prabhu warned us that we should not listen to the Mayavadi philosophy, the philosophy that says that you are God, because it will massage your false ego. And it's very sweet sometimes when somebody tells you that you are God, but it's only when you cannot, when God will catch a toothache and he cannot eat, then he will know that he's not God. Prabhupada gave this example. When you will have a toothache as God, and it's so painful you cannot eat, then you can tell us how God you are, how godly, how much God you are. Like I was telling that guy, there are so many things you cannot control, you see. But you see, you are thinking that you are God out of ignorance. Papa mentioned in the purport. Out of ignorance, you are thinking you are God. When it will be grow old now and it will become incapacitated and cannot move again, still, it will still be thinking that is God. I don't know how one can cling to that philosophy to that extent. I remember one time also in Philippines here, one Indian man was sick for a long time. So we went to visit him when he was on the bed. And his philosophy was still the same. How is God? They cling to this philosophy so strongly. You get my point? So it's very difficult. Because how can you say you are God when you are suffering? So this philosophy that you are God or I'm God is very strong in the living entities. Very strong. So we are very fortunate to have come in contact with Srila Prabhupada's purport. Okay? Any other question or comments regarding that?
I have one thing to say.
Yes, please go ahead, Prabhu.
I don't know where I got the idea, but I thought that sometimes that Krishna would be so small, so tiny, and manifested in almost every single thing. Like everything around me is Krishna. Everything.
Yeah.
So of course, if he wills it, then it is. And anything can happen. And I think even I see the magical stories of the past, like, dragons or whatever. It was all Krishna. It was just different interpretations. I've always seen the world like that. I don't know if that's correct or not.
Yeah. No, one thing that is, thank you very much for the contribution. See, everything is Krishna, but at the same time, everything is not Krishna. That is the philosophy that is where the Vaishnava philosophy is completely different. And that is the philosophy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Achintya Beda Beda Tattva. What does that mean? Achintya Beda Beda Tattva means simultaneously one and different. So everything is Krishna, and at the same time, everything is not Krishna. You see? So, yes, everything is Krishna because everything manifested from Krishna. But still, Krishna maintained his complete balance. Like the shloka in Upanishad. Okay? Yeah, you want to ask a question? Yes, go ahead.
The frozen iron underneath it.
How would you hand?
Anyway, I think I've got.
You're raising your hand. Abu David, you are raising your hand. Okay, I was thinking you wanted to say something. That's why you're raising your hand.
Yes. I had a question about happiness or even misery, but how do you know really when you are truly happy or if it's just an illusion from Maya?
Ah, very good question. Thank you.
Yes, I get confused by that sometimes.
Ah, very good questions. Let us analyze the question. Very nice one. Very, very nice one. Actually, happiness is based on your level of consciousness. Once you understand this, then you will know what true happiness is. Our happiness is based on the level of our consciousness. Let me give an example. There's a very wonderful story when Indra was cursed. Indra was cursed to become a baboy. In Tagalog, they call it baboy. Is it not baboy?
Pig?
Am I? Huh?
Yes,
Pig.
Yes, baboy. Yeah. So Indra was cursed to become baboy. You know. So, so after he became a baboy, and he was enjoying himself with his family. He has baboy pig. He have piglets, you know, children. So Lord Brahma came to him. Indra, let's go back to heaven. Indra said, no, I'm so happy here. I'm enjoying with my family. See my piglets. No, I don't want to go to heaven. You see, even Indra forgot the happiness of heavenly planet when he's in the body of a pig. That's to tell you how happiness is based on the level of consciousness. I don't know, maybe you're getting my point. So those who are in the mode of goodness,
I get it.
very good. So those who are in the level of goodness, what they consider to be happiness is completely different from those who are in the mode of passion. Those who are in the mode of passion, what they consider happiness is completely different from those who are in the mode of ignorance. So depending on the mode of nature you are situated in, that is how you perceive happiness. That is how you think that is happiness. For example, let me give you another good example. If you go to the Himalayas, you will see all those sages in the Himalayas. They are sitting down there, meditating for years. And they are very, very happy. They will not exchange that happiness with anything in this world. Meanwhile, other people in the city run here and there, have the skyscraper, build mansion, and they think that that is their own happiness. You see? And then you see, on the same place, you will see people on the roadside of Manila, they are lying on the bridge, on the roadside, completely peaceful, not disturbed. You see? And they're completely peaceful in that situation. They're not disturbed. So that is it. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that real happiness can only be perceived when we become pure. If not, we will be mistaking temporary material happiness to be real happiness, which is not. And that is why Prabhupada explained that happiness in this world is sensation of miseries. Means that we are always miserable in this world. So when we get a little relief, we think we are happy. You see, that is the happiness in this world. Is that okay, Prabhu?
Yeah, it's very excellent. I think it's the same reason why some people might think like they want to get a house or a car or something, and then they'll be happy once they get these things, and they find there's no happiness in that necessarily. You know, it's just different.
It's a mirage.
It's illusions.
It's a mirage.
It's different illusions. Yeah.
It's a mirage, Prabhu, like you're saying. It's a mirage. See, what is a mirage? Mirage is that what we see when we are driving on a hot, sunny day, and you look as if there's a water on the road. When you get there, there is no water there. That is mirage. So the so-called happiness in this world is a mirage. So I'm thinking, if I get this car, if I get this house, I will be happy. I will work very hard, work very hard. Immediately I get the car, oh, so the happiness is not really here, you know. Oh, maybe it's that the happiness is here now. Okay, when I get that, I'll become happy. Then you begin again. When you get it, oh, once you get something in this world, you feel like there's nothing else. It's like, I want something else. This is not the real thing I'm looking for. Because what we are, because the real happiness is not in what we are searching, you know, in where we are searching in this world. The real happiness we are looking for is inside us. The scripture gave a very good example of a deer. A deer is running in the forest, looking for the aroma, you know, perceiving some nice fragrance, and he's running here and there looking for it, but not knowing that the scent is coming from his own body. That is our situation in this material world. We are looking for happiness here and there, running. But that happiness actually is inside us. We just need to go inward, you know, connect with the Supreme. And we will understand that that happiness is being contented with what we have. When you're able to connect with God, and you're able to be contented with what you have, then you can experience little of that bliss we are talking about. Then you feel completely satisfied. Mother Shaya, your hand is up. Please, unmute yourself.
I just wanted to share this in regard with what you've said, Prabhuji, that a happiness in the mode of ignorance. Because when we had a book distribution last time, you know, like the man, the foreigner was drinking, and I told him, sir, you know what? When you really want to find happiness, this book will really help you. And then he was like, oh, I'm very happy and chill right now. I'm drinking my beer. And I was like laughing, you know. So yeah, so even like these people find happiness in the beer or drugs with women. So
Mother Shaya, don't think about it. The guy drinking beer is enjoying himself. You cannot understand that enjoyment.
I don't know. I think it was very easy to be happy at different types of ignorance. Remember, we were all children, and as a child, we took happiness at like just having an ice cream cone or something like that.
Yes.
There's all levels of happiness. I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yes, Prabhu, that is it. So, Prabhu, Mother Shaya, you cannot go and convince that guy drinking beer that he's not happy. You are just going to waste your time, because the guy is happy. He's enjoying himself. You see? Yes, he's drinking beer. He's enjoying himself. But we don't want that kind of happiness, because we know that kind of happiness does not satisfy the soul. We know that, but he doesn't know. But you cannot tell him that. So he's happy in the mode of ignorance. That is what we're trying to say. And somebody is happy in the mode of passion. So we want to derive our own happiness in the mode of goodness. When we come to chapter 18 of Bhagavad Gita, we will study more about this different level of happiness, charity, and all what have you. Krishna explained all of them in Bhagavad Gita 17, 18. We're going to see all of them. Both the mode, the charity we perform in this world, they are in 3 modes. The happiness we have in this world, they are in 3 modes. Everything we do, Krishna is going to explain to us how they are in 3 modes. And Krishna explained in Bhagavad Gita that in that particular chapter, how, okay, what is the result of somebody who is happy in the mode of goodness? What is the result of somebody who is happy in the mode of passion? What will happen to somebody who is happy in the mode of ignorance? So it's not the same. Even though they think that they are happy, but their destination or the result of happiness is not the same. That is why we are consciously looking for our happiness in the mode of goodness, because we know that happiness in the mode of goodness is everlasting and it's not, you know, does not bring any miseries at any time. That is why we are eager to be happy in the mode of goodness. We know that, okay, those guys who are happy in the mode of passion and ignorance, okay, in their level of consciousness, they think they're happy. And if you go close to them, you think, yes, they will tell you that you are suffering actually. Just you go and tell somebody who love to humanize, you go and tell him that you are observing brahmachari. He will just look at you. You are just suffering yourself, because he thinks that humanizing is enjoyment. Because his own happiness is in the mode of passion. You just say, why are you suffering yourself? You know, why are you suffering? Why are you doing that? That has no benefit. He will be telling you all this kind of, because why? He's thinking that he's happy in the mode of passion. But we know that eventually he will regret such happiness. We know. We know that at the end he will regret. We know that. But when they are doing it, they don't think about that. That is why the devotees, they are consciously trying to cultivate knowledge and try to engage in activities that will bring happiness in the mode of goodness and ultimately on the transcendental platform. We are consciously doing this. That is why we are practicing what we are practicing, because we know that only happiness on that platform of goodness or transcendental level is eternal and bring everlasting happiness, not the one in the mode of passion and ignorance. Okay? We have 4 minutes more. Let us use it to discuss. Any comments, question?
Prabhu,
Yes.
I have like an addition. Also, when you're like distributing books, or if you're outside trying to preach to people, you shouldn't say that like, oh, you're miserable. To other people, you're miserable right now, or your diet will kill you. You cannot tell them that. They're gonna be offended.
No. They will not understand you. No, you cannot tell them that. You cannot tell them that. You cannot tell them, oh, you are suffering. Oh, you are eating meat. You are very sinful. No, you cannot preach like that.
Yes, they will double down. They will double down on their own thing. They think they're right, ultimately.
Yes. No, because everybody is doing what they think that is right for them in the material world. So when you want to preach to such people, like when I want to, like today, I met one lady. So when I wanted to give him the book, he said, no, I'm a Catholic. Oh, I said, very good. But this book I'm sharing to you, it's not talking about whether you're a Catholic or not Catholic, because knowledge has no religion. Okay, knowledge is universal. So, okay, what is the book talking about? I said, this book is telling you how to become peaceful. Oh, I want that. I want to be peaceful. Yeah, give me that. Then I gave her the book. You see, so people have different understanding about life, what they want in life. So don't think that they need your Krishna consciousness. No, you have to trick them. Many people don't think that they need your Krishna consciousness. Actually, that is what they need in their life, but they don't think that. But you have to know how to trick them to take it, just like a child who doesn't want to take a medicine. You have to put it inside some food and put it in his mouth, or you put it inside some sweets. That is how to trick a child. You cannot just give him the bitter medicine. The child will throw it away. He will not take it. You have to trick the child to take the bitter medicine. Then the child will take what is beneficial for him or her. But if you let the child know that it's bitter, you give him like that, he will just waste the medicine. Similarly, when you are approaching people, when you are trying to reach out to people, you don't tell them they are suffering. You don't tell them that they are miserable. You don't tell them they are sinful. No, you cannot preach like that. They will not listen to you because they will be defensive. No, who told you I'm that? What's wrong with you? I don't want your knowledge. Get out of here. But if you tell them that this book is going to help you to become happy, they want to become happy. If you tell them that this book is going to make you to be peaceful, they want to be peaceful. If you tell them that this book is going to help you to control anxiety, they want to be free from anxiety. Then they will take the book and they read about it. They will come to know about Krishna. Then in the future, they will start appreciating you for tricking them to take their medicine that is very bitter. You see, that is the trick. Okay, thank you very much. So any other comment? We have 1 minute more. Any other comment or contribution? Now is exactly time. Thank you very much. Vanshaka Patarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhubhyevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Thank you very much, everyone. See you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.